Right, so today I'm going to show you how we build a rustic garden fence. Now this is not the kind of fence that you're going to build to be able to keep intruders out, and it's not a livestock fence. We're going to build a decorative garden fence. It's the kind of thing to put on the edge of your garden where you don't want people to go into your flower garden, or where you just want to have a pretty feature. I've already started with making my pathway, as you can see here, an archway at the entrance of my path, and I've planted a pole. It does not have to be a perfect pole. Note, this is a rustic fence. We're not going for perfect square lines, we're not going for perfection, we're going for rustic look. I've used a tree at my other end of my section of my fence panel, if you could call it that. And I've got two horizontal sticks already in place. As you can see, they do not have to be straight, but they do have to look fairly even and fairly adequately even apart all the way along. So these ones, they're going to be pretty much horizontal. I'm fortunate, I live in a forest, as you can see. Sorry, I'll go a bit slower with my recording. I live in a forest, so there's lots of trees around, lots of sticks that I can use. My next step now, I've got my fence panel, as you can see. I need to fill that panel with smaller sticks to make it look, instead of like a post and rail farm fence, we're going to fill it with smaller sticks. So I'm going to go around the farm and search for the right sticks. Right, I hit the jackpot. A whole bunch of sticks. It's kind of like our stick rubbish bin, if you could say. We've been clearing a lot of alien vegetation, so I'm going to get to work finding the right sticks, and I will show you how we find the right sticks in a minute. Here's a selection of sticks as quick as I can. So you're going to look for sticks that are specific type, depending on what type of fence you're looking for. If you're looking for something that's more of a privacy fence, you're going to look for something more like this. And you're going to look for a lot of those. So you've got lots of stuff going on there so people can't see through it very easily. Like, you know, if you want a section in your backyard where you don't want people to see you enjoying your afternoon tea. If you're looking for something that is kind of like what I'm building at the moment, you're going to look for something that is more flat. And now flat, I mean as in, like, think of a palm leaf. A palm leaf is flat, it doesn't bush out into very much bushiness, it's just pretty much flat and spread out. Sort of like this. So this, well, it's a little bit bushy, but we'll see if we can make this one work. We've got a few other nice selections here. This one is a selection of what I'm not looking for. It's a little too bulky, a little bit too opened up, too bushy. I don't know if you can see it too clearly in the video, but yeah, we're gonna choose that one to go back into the rubbish pile. We've got a couple of good ones here. This one, I can break one or two little sticks off of it and it'll look quite pretty and decorative. This one, I love how gnarly it is and bendy it is. It's going to have great character in our fence. We can also, again, flatten it out. See, we don't want the fence to move into the pathway. We want the pathway to be bordered by the fence. This one is going to be a perfect one as sort of like a middle brace, and we're going to use this one to help us hold the other ones in place. So I'm going to drag these all back up to my fence and I'll show you basics of how we tie them and everything. I am back at my fence with my sticks. Yep, that's Gajima, she's joined me. And here's my fence. So I'm going to see which sticks I want to put where. I'm going to show you one or two tricks. Here's the one that we said we're going to use as a brace. Move, Gajima, I don't want to walk over you. Alright, so you're going to have a couple of rules with your fence. Even though it's a rustic fence and it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, you want it to be neat. So, and to look, you know, decorative, not like it's been slapped together like a piece of junk. So I don't know if you can see this too clearly, but you can either have, when your sticks are overlapping, they can go below your post and rail, or they can go above. You don't want to have them below and above. That's just going to look messy, and it's going to look like it's been slapped together, and whoever slapped it together isn't quite serious about it. sorry, it's a lot of noise around the background of my, well, visual noise around the background of my fence here, because I've got a pile of sticks, old sticks there I'm going to get rid of sooner or later. But for now we're going to have this. So I'm choosing to have my overflow go below the sticks. It sort of goes down, makes it look nice as it goes into what's going to become a garden below here. I'm going to figure out placing my sticks and start tying them. I'm going to try and do a time-lapse video because I do not have a GoPro, so this is a handheld camera and it's not working for me right now. So I'm going to do a time-lapse video and hopefully you can see what happens. You can see here I am slowly going about tying the sticks onto my horizontals. I use a plier and a thin wire, and I just do basic twisty ties going along, keeping my sticks below the top horizontal. At this point I'm going to pause. I ran out of wires, so I had to go fetch some more, but I want to mention two things. The first thing being, this is a rustic fence. There's nothing wrong with using recycled wire. As you can see, I am using recycled wire. The other thing is, when you've got a long piece of wire and you tie your pieces, like what I've got here, you use your pliers, you twist it, as you can see, twist tie. You're going to also not just leave those long pieces and not just throw them away. Tie it as close to the end as you can and save those pieces, because I promise you they are going to come in handy later. Here's a bunch of saved pieces that I've already got, and I will show you later how we use them. For now, we're going to get back to our time-lapse video and putting together our main parts that we put into our stick fence. My framework, which, as we started off with, our upright and our two horizontals and our tree at the other end that's acting as our upright, and we have part of our filler. I'm going to walk slowly here and try and steady the camera that you see our filler. It's looking quite nice actually, I really do like it. There's our gnarly stick. It's right at the entrance of my pathway. As you can see, it doesn't stick out too much into the pathway itself. Now, if you're wanting something a little thicker than this, we've got our base now, kind of like a base frame, right? This area here, it looks a little bit scarce and open. It needs to be filled in a bit more. So I'm going to take another time-lapse video and you're going to see how we're going to weave some smaller sticks in to try and make it into a little bit more full, a little bit more full of character, a bit more decorative. As you can see, there's slight small amounts of the sticks that do stick out above my horizontal pole. Sorry, I forgot the name of it. There's a couple of sticks that stick out above my horizontal pole here. I'm going to just leave those. They're not too serious, but we don't have a whole lot. Kind of like at the bottom, below our bottom horizontal pole, there's quite a lot of sticks that are sticking out. Before we do our time-lapse video, I'm going to show you the kind of sticks that we're going to use for our weaving. See here, it's nice and thin. It's about as thick as my finger, and it's still got green bits. You want that, because if it's still got green bits, then it's going to be slightly more flexible, so you can weave it into place. It's not going to snap, and once you've weaved it into place, it'll dry up further and eventually stay there permanently. Okay, this fence isn't going to last many years, but it'll at least last about 3 or 4 years, hopefully longer. We shall see. Okie dokie, after about 45 minutes we've now got us a relatively nice fence. It's not privacy thickness, but it does look pretty cool. It is definitely a fence and it is definitely decorative. I'll show you from the other side of the fence looking into the pathway in a minute, since I've got all the sticks behind here. I just wanted to point out, you remember those short pieces of wire that we had saved? We use them for these pieces here. Sometimes when you're weaving, you need to still tie it even if you've weaved it pretty well. So as you can see here, those short pieces do not go to waste. So let's take a look at it from the other side of the fence. And this is a rustic fence panel. I'm going to be building a whole pathway full of this rustic fence panel, these rustic fence panels, and before long we'll have a beautiful garden path. This is Amelia, over and out.